Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahabushai, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Isaiah chapter 34, verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh and read. And the book of Yahweh is, of course, the scriptures, the Old and the New Testament, as well as the Apocrypha, which is a part of the Old Testament. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. No one of these prophecies in the scriptures shall fail. Because when you look throughout history, things that were prophesied to take place in the past, they've taken place. Things that are prophesied to be taking place as we speak are taking place. And if you have that spiritual eye salve, you can clearly see the things that are prophesied to take place in the future. They're in the process of taking place as we speak. And none shall want her mate is going into how there's no other book, ideology, if you will, religion, text, or spirituality, scientific method that compares to the 144% accuracy of the scriptures. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. And in this video, we're going to be going into one of these that shall not fail. The main prophecy, the sincere, brothers and sisters out there, the hopeful elect are diligently waiting for it to come to pass. The rollout and mandatory implementation of the MARKOFTHEBEAST in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16, and I'm going to read to 17. And he causeth all, that he being the elite rulers of the planet right now, who are of the nation of Esau Edom, or the so-called white man, such as the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, etc., both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a MARK in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that MARK, which is charagma in the Greek, is speaking of the RFID/NFC micro C-hip implant. And that no man might buy or sell or get a job, travel abroad, do anything very soon, save he that had the charagma, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And if you've been paying attention to the path that society's been going down, what are we moving towards? A digital, cashless society with CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies, these cryptocurrencies, and a lot of contactless payments and biometrics. And with that forehead, what do you have? You have Elon Musk's Neuralink, which is already doing human trials. And then you've got plenty of companies out there. Walletmore comes to mind, or I think another one is Biohacks in Sweden, that is dealing with a C-hip implant in the body. But this brings me to my first bit of information on cbc.ca's website. And I got this article from a video the brother GMS Watchman did, because he used this same article, going into a similar topic. So, this is a spiritual skillful adding to that lesson. But it's titled, Biometrics in the Workplace May Be the Way of the Future, but at what cost? And was published on August 25th of 2024, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. Some employers are now asking people to clock in with their fingerprint. And biometrics goes into what? Bio meaning life, and metrics, measurement. So the measurement of your body, so to speak. And what do they deal with? Iris scans, facial scans, fingerprint scans, palm scans, such as Amazon One at Whole Foods. The list goes on. And all these things are just a precursor to that C-hip implant, Because how much easier would it be for all this information to be gathered with your own personalized charagma inside you? And you see that image of her using her thumbprint? Eventually, it's going to be people just, scanning their hand over it. When Ellie Thompson arrives at work, she doesn't punch in on a physical clock or even check in on an app. Instead, she scans her finger. Seeing everyone else go ahead and do it, it just figured like the right thing to do, and there was no issue with it. Thompson told Cost of Living. Thompson is a 21-year-old server and bartender at the high-end Char Bar restaurant in Calgary. She's one of many employees who now use biometric technology, such as fingerprint scanning, to clock in and out. And that number is rising. And, it seems like the past couple of weeks at camp, brothers have been going into that company in Wisconsin that I believe has already rolled out the option for their employees to get C-hip implants in them, to clock into work, to use the vending machine, etc., etc. Biometrics is already a billion-dollar industry, according to a report by market research firm iMark Group. iMark. The global biometrics market reached $39 billion in 2023. And while Thompson isn't worried about the fact that Char Bar has her fingerprint, privacy experts are raising concerns about the trend. Why the shift? Because no one of these shall fail. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. According to Hannah Johnston, who specializes in the digitalization of work and teaches human resources management at York University in Toronto, employers have started using biometrics in the workplace for a number of reasons. And remember, back during 2019 to 2021, if you didn't have the snake piss, a lot of people faced losing their jobs. A lot of people were barred from going into certain establishments. And that was all just a trial run for the main event, the rollout of this charagma, which, as it said back in Revelation 13, verse 17, that you won't be able to buy or sell. You can include getting a job, traveling abroad, anything, save you have the charagma in you. She says employers argue it's more convenient as people most often don't forget their finger or thumb at home, like one might forget a swipe card. She also says employees have started using fingerprint scans for a punch clock because they say it is more accurate. They want to know exactly when someone punches in and be confident no one else is doing it for them. Your biometrics, which is exactly what the charagma is going to have on it. Now let's go to that word charagma in the Strongs, which the word M-A-R-K, which is G5480, charagma, which it says a stamp and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the anti-Hamashiach, which, the so-called Antichrist or anti-Hamashiach isn't a single man with a briefcase out here, looking like Sam Neill. It's a spirit out here, a spirit of rebellion against Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And this is going to be the ultimate form of rebellion against the Most High by receiving Esau's charagma in you. But as we can see, it's clearly a physical implementation. And when we go into the Strong's info, it says a scratch or etching as a badge of servitude. And let's go to the root word for charagma, which is harex, a pail or stake, a palisade. And what do you do with a pail or a stake? You stake it into the ground or the earth to lay claim to your property, which is exactly what you're going to be. If you receive that charagma, you're going to be the property, the full goyim of the elites. But now let's go to the root word for this. And in the Strong's definition, it says to sharpen to a point, akin to G1125 through the idea of scratching. And how do they get that haragma in you? They scratch into your skin with that syringe or harax. But the root word is G1125, grapho, which in the outline of biblical usage reads, to write with reference to the form of the letters, to write with reference to the content of the writing, to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, like your biometrics, like your banking account information, your job information, or your medical information. Write down, record, digitally in this case, because all your biometrics are going to be on that haragma. But now I'm going to go to my second bit of information on Lena Petrova's YouTube channel, and it's titled Alert, Bank Consolidations Tick Up as Government Regulations and Digitization Results in Mergers. Like I said earlier, you've got the rollout of these CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies, where these central banks in these countries across the planet are running pilot programs or have fully implemented CBDCs. And what's going to be the middleman between the banks and you using those CBDCs? Ultimately, that haragma. And, I'm going to start this video at the 5-minute and 57-second mark. And just to, give you a little backdrop, a lot of smaller banks are being consolidated into larger banks because they're, going under due to this real estate crisis that's taking place. They let out a lot of loans that weren't able to be paid back. And as it's going to go into, with these consolidations taking place and what these bigger banks, swallowing up these smaller banks, what does that lead to? Less banks out here, so the powers that be have more control over fewer assets, and they're pushing for that digitization. But this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
Increasing requirements and government involvement rarely leads to positive outcomes. I think we can agree on that. The second driver of bank consolidations is an improvement in efficiencies, which makes banks more profitable. So, of course, shareholders seek profits, and this is precisely what's driving consolidations and M&A discussions. The third reason:
if you are within 20 years of retirement, or if you're already retired, all of your hard-earned savings now
is something that sounds quite concerning: digital capabilities and digital transformations. The third reason reminds me of the CBDC and the fact that greater control is enabled by fewer entities to control. So naturally, there would need to be a substantial consolidation process prior to the launch of the digital central bank currency. Now, I'm not saying with certainty that this is necessarily where things are heading, but it does make you question whether this is just a precursor to more substantial changes, which, as we know very well, are clearly on the horizon.
And it is a precursor. As Lena Petrova just said, another major reason for bank consolidations is what? Digitization. Digital currencies. And as we read in that first article, they're talking about biometrics being the thing in the workplace in the future. Everything's moving towards the digital cashless society, and the infrastructure is being set up to perfectly transition to that haragma when whatever event they're going to use to transition is going to take place. And what have we constantly been hearing from Kay Schwab from the WEF? Shock events coming, the times of the polycrises, cyber pandemics, blackouts, etc., economic collapses, which, that is also looming. Lest we forget, a couple of weeks ago, what did you have? That 1,000-point drop in the stock market due to a lot of nations fearing that the U.S. Economy was going to go into recession. Hey, that black swan is just, swimming around in the water right now, just waiting to lay lay the perfect event, so to speak, to kick everything into motion.
A recent report alluded to the plan to decrease the number of banking institutions in the United States as investments in digital technologies ramp up. The need to increasing tax spend has further driven the desire for scale, and we expect consolidations to pick back up as cyclical headwinds abate. The banking industry has always benefited from scale, as the act of acquiring another bank is simply much quicker and easier than attempting to poach customers from a competitor. However, investments in technology digitization require significant capital and resources. With the ever-increasing cost of these investments, scale matters more than ever given the need to spread these higher fixed costs across a wider base. So it is.
Hey, that's it with that clip. Now I'm going to go to my last bit of information on the brother Saints of Jersey 2's YouTube channel titled, "It Has Begun, No Cash, #MOTB." And, I'd recommend going and watching this brother's full video, but I'm going to just be playing the clips of this guy right here that he was playing in the video just to get to the main point. And again, this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
So you know all that cash that you have? Well, I hate to say it, but it's no longer accepted. Many businesses have So you know all that cash that you have? Well, I hate to say it, but it's no longer accepted. Many businesses have decided to go away from cash. They're going cashless, and this is hurting many Americans. Now, today I want to break down a story that's not actually happening here in the US, but many people are concerned that this is just a matter of time before many companies, even states, and even the federal government is going to decide that cash is a thing of the past, and now it's time to go cashless. So today I want to break down what's going on, how this is going to impact us in the few seconds. Go ahead. Today, it's actually out of the UK. It's this one right here. Tesco bans cash transactions across UK in huge store shakeup. Says the supermarket chain claims the move will cut customer waiting times and improve shopping experiences. Here's what I think is interesting. Whenever I go into certain stores and they tell me, sorry, we don't accept that type of cash. They don't accept hundreds. Okay? Many stores will not accept a $100 bill. Now, what's interesting is I went to a KFC just earlier this week, and my total came up to $98. I paid, of course, with $100.
And I believe it was in Nigeria where, probably about a year ago or so, they were pushing for, a digital currency, and they were taking, certain, denominations of money out of circulation. Like this guy is saying, some places aren't accepting hundreds or 50s, and they rioted over there. And I believe one of those people in the European Union was saying a similar thing. They want to get it to where in Europe, they only accept a certain amount of euros, and you can't exceed, or you can't deposit or take out 100, anything above 100 euros, or I think they said like 400 or something, stuff like that. And I think they even said if you take out more than the prescribed amount, that you're going to be put on a watch list, because why are you taking out all that money? And the reason they gave is because when you had a bunch of terrorist attacks in Europe, they were using various credit cards to take out various amounts of money. So you see, everything is moving towards this digital cashless society. As we see in this clip, bans on certain amounts of money coming from the Lena Petrova clip, banks, smaller banks being consolidated into bigger banks, and talks of digitization. And then from that first article, biometrics becoming more and more prevalent in the workplace and in society.
Guess what they told me? Sorry, we don't accept hundreds. I said, okay, no, not a problem. That's fine. I paid with 250s. Guess what they told me after I handed them 2 50s? Sorry, we do not take anything over a $20 bill. Yeah, it's getting to that point where stores used to take hundreds, they take 50s. Now, $20 or less is what they would accept. Yeah, they are slowly going cashless. But here's what I think is interesting. Stores don't want to accept cash. Okay? They say it increases the transaction times of customers, and that if you just pay with a card, it would be much faster and it would be more smooth. Well, I went into another store just yesterday and they charged me $2.50 to use my debit card. Yeah, didn't matter if it's a debit card or a credit card, it was going to cost $2.50 extra. However, they did take cash. However, you could only pay with 5s, 10s, or 20s. No 1s, no 50s, no 100s. That's what they were going to accept. Again, stores are putting restrictions on what you can pay with and pay for. Now, here.
Hey.
And I'm jump to.
You can see it already. It's as clear.
To do a cash transaction, 4 to 5 seconds. That's not much to pay with.
In these last days, you know. Let's go back to this video, and then we're gonna get the last scripture.
Here's what I think is interesting. Look at this right here. Now, they've done different studies on this, but I wanted to pull this up because I'm pretty sure this Tender Greens business, they're out of business. Okay, but it says salad chains Tender Greens and Sweetgreen found similar benefits from going cashless. Tender Greens estimates that cash transactions are 4 to 5 seconds slower than card transactions. And Sweetgreen found that its cashless locations process 5 to 15% more transactions per hour. So, here's what I think is interesting.
And some of the places I go to on my job have a sign outside saying this establishment does not accept cash. And this is all the way down here in shithole New Orleans, Louisiana.
It takes 4 to 5 seconds longer to do a cash transaction. 4 to 5 seconds. That's not much to pay with cash. But here's where we're going now. And this is why many Americans are furious. I experienced this the other day, and again, I was caught off guard. Look at this though. Memphis Zoo, as of today, as of August 26th, 2024, is now rolling out a new cashless policy. Yeah, the Memphis Zoo. But it's this that I thought was, well, some.
Good morning.
Go from Greek classics one day.
Shocking. New York State Fair is using reverse ATMs, or what many people have called cash to card kiosks. Now, how do these work? And then I'm explaining my story. Well, look at this right here.
You load money into a kiosk like you see here, and within seconds, you can get a receipt confirming your conversion and a prepaid active card. Many of the prepaid cards are either MasterCard or Visa, and you can use them anywhere where those cards are accepted.
So this person is putting money into the machine. So if I have $100, I go to the cash to card kiosk or the reverse ATM. I put my cash in, and it spits out a card. And that card I can use wherever I want to. But here's what I think is interesting. And this video was done over a year ago. Okay, this is the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, here's what I think is interesting about this. I recently had the opportunity, the unpleasant opportunity to experience something like this, where I went to this place, and that's all they had. They were cashless. But
we're going into that. This is where
that's it with that clip. But hey, this is exactly where everything is leading to. You know, they have that saying, all roads lead to Rome. Well, hey, all roads lead to the chip. I'm going to close it out in Habakkuk chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. And I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Hey, the men of the Lord are standing upon their watch, you know, watching the news and filtering the scriptures, and then filtering the news, you know, through the scriptures. 2, and Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. And, you know, when the prophets received these visions in the past, they wrote them down. And now what? The prophets coming back in the reincarnation that are living in these times when these prophecies would take place are able to understand them and what? And run, you know, run and further prophesy these words by what? Them making it plain upon tables, by putting out these video epistles online, and then going out onto the highways and byways to preach this word, to cause the rest of the hopeful elect to read it so they may run as well, and run to do everything they can to please their power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahabushai. Verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Hey, you've had a lot of these false prophets in these other camps, you know, for the last, you know, decade plus, scoffing at the men of the Lord at GMS, a great millstone, beginning with our apostles and elders, saying that the MOTB was the C-hip. But now what? At the end it is speaking and not lying. If Yahweh Bahashem Yahabushai is dealing with you and you haven't sold out to Esau, you can clearly see that the MOTB is that C-hip, and clearly it is no longer tarrying, but it is coming quickly. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Hey, just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.